Hi everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Amy Potter, I'm a marketing manager at Teleware, and I'm delighted to welcome you to our webinar, From Telephony to Intelligent Conversations, Evolving with Microsoft Copilot and Voice AI. Over the next 30 minutes or so, we'll explore how traditional telephony services can be elevated through the power of AI, unlocking smarter customer interactions, operational efficiencies, and new revenue opportunities for resellers and partners. We've got a fantastic lineup of speakers who'll be sharing their insights and examples of how this technology can really make a difference to businesses. Today, we've got Steve Howarth, our CEO, Nick Reeks, our Chief Operations Officer, and Jason Foxton, who's Head of Business Solutions. Just before we dive in, I'd encourage you all to post any questions that you might have in the Q&A section of the webinar. We're aiming to have some spare time at the end of the session to be able to answer these questions, but if we do run out of time, we will make sure that we answer and respond to any of these questions directly to you. Now, it can't have escaped anybody that AI is everywhere. It's on the edge of everybody's lips at the moment, and it's a really big opportunity for everybody out there. So what I'd like to do is ask Steve to give us a bit of an overview on the AI market, particularly the voice AI market, and what we're seeing out there in the market at the moment.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. As you know, I've been pulling through a few stats and figures, and I've got some of them in front of me at the moment. And some of the interesting ones, so the voice AI market itself is due to grow from about 2.4 billion last year to 16.3 billion by 2030. So that's based on, it was a global figure we took, but there was the UK is about 4% of the global IT figure, so that's where those figures come from, and that's a compound annual growth of about 29.6%, so almost 30% compound growth. Now, when we're looking at technologies, usually you've got to take it with a pinch of salt that you see some high growth rates for new technologies all the time, but actually 30% is very high. I always look at, if there's 20%, you can say you've got some fast growth there, but 30% for voice AI is significant. And some of the other sort of data points that we got there was that 78% of organizations have already deployed at least AI in at least one area of the business, which is people starting to adopt AI in generally. That's not a voice specific stat, that is for AI, but that's kind of leading into businesses being more open for AI adoption. And one of the other interesting ones, I did get several different stats on this one, so it's probably somewhere between 25 and 50%, but by 2030 voice will handle over 50% of all customer interactions, which did look a little bit high, and I have looked at other ones anywhere between sort of 25-30% and 50%. And what was interesting is that overall customer interactions seems to be growing, and voice is actually back to growth again. I'll touch upon that a little bit later as to why I think that is, but we're seeing, because of voice AI, voice becoming a more significant piece of the overall customer interactions piece, and that's on the back of just bringing some real significant benefits. So things like 40% reduction in average call handling time, 65% increase in first call resolution, 85% customer sat with AI interactions, and of course that's all 24/7 availability. But I won't dwell on those too much, because I know, Nick, you're covering that a little bit more later, but it's significant business benefits, which is why it's rolling out and getting adopted by business so quick.
Okay, and what about complementary services? Obviously we've talked about voice AI, but more about like the Microsoft products like Copilot. Have you got any thoughts on what's happening with that at the moment?
Yeah, sure. So obviously our proposition stitches into the Microsoft stack. So we do look at that because it's key for Microsoft partners to be able to grow their revenues, not just from our products and services, but from the Microsoft piece. And obviously Copilot is a big push for Microsoft at the moment. They've done lots of research and giving out statistics on this. So they're claiming for AI adoption in the SMEs that it can provide £78 billion in economic value over the next decade. So it's a huge push both from Microsoft, but with figures that big, then the UK government is also pushing AI, and we'll have seen that in the plans that Keir Starmer was talking about earlier in the year. And one of the interesting stats was how in the SMB and SME market, 58% are looking at and planning to implement AI this year. That's gone up from 40% the year before. So there's a real big growth to not only adoption now, but increased adoption and the intent to be spending more money and doing more projects, so which brings real opportunity right now. If you look at the Microsoft platform itself, then Copilot, it's integrated into 365 and Teams. So it's one of those that's a more natural fit and easier to take on board. And Microsoft are claiming that there's 30% savings, time savings per person in an organization. So that's bringing return on investments from some of their case studies of anything from 132 to 353% return on investment, which is massive. And that's just in a 3-year period on Copilot usage alone. So if you look at that, it's just a huge capability and a huge benefit for SMBs to get on and use that. So yeah, the figures are massive. I think some of the challenges that we see there, because it's almost like, well, isn't everybody using it then? Microsoft did touch upon some of the barriers, which include security concerns, infrastructure, licensing costs, and skill shortages, which again for partners and resellers is fantastic, because they're all the things that partners know about, are good and can lead the customer through. So I think that gives a lot of opportunity in there. And if you take that 58% stat that I mentioned earlier in the SMB, if you look at the UK market, we've got 5 million businesses, of which 99% of them are in the SMB space. So if you assume that 58% intend to adopt this year, that's 2.9 million businesses adopting AI this year or having some projects this year, which is just an incredible opportunity, really. So circling back, I think, to the voice, that was really touching on the wider AI and the Microsoft piece. But what we've been seeing was in the SMB space in particular, people have cut back on phone usage, partly because they can't staff it. If they don't have enough volume and the volume's peaky, it's really difficult to staff those phones, and it's not as measurable as some of the other digital channels. Well, because of AI and voice AI, it brings back that measurability of that channel again. So you can scale it up, you can have it 24/7, it's more natural sounding, and you can get those insights and analytics off the back of that, as well as from not just the AI voice, but traditional voice of salespeople and service talking to customers, sorry. You've got AI transcribing, analyzing and summarizing those calls. So again, you're getting that data back. So the voice channel is just due to grow massively. So we can see from all the data points we see, then voice is going to be coming and growing as a channel. AI voice is the predominant reason for that. It's going to be giving that data rich and measurable information, and will enable SMBs and SMEs to scale voice and get those statistics. So it's a really exciting time, I think, for partners and resellers in this space.
Absolutely. And then just moving on to that, maybe we could have a look at the Teleware product, sort of in that space.
Yeah, good point, Amy. Jason, it might be a good time to show the product, give a quick demo, and then the audience knows what we're talking about.
Yeah, I'll do. Welcome to Teleware. How can I help you today?
Well, I'd like to speak to someone in the sales team, please.
Sure, I can help with that. May I have your name, please?
Yeah, it's Jason Smith.
Thank you. Could you please let me know what company you are calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from Ackley Enterprises.
Great. What is the nature of your call today?
I'd like to inquire about AI voice services, please.
Thank you. I have logged your information. I will now transfer you to the sales team. Please hold for a moment.
Hi, Jason. Thanks for the call. How is business at Acme Enterprises?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Very busy, which is what we want.
Good to hear. I understand you want to discuss AI voice services.
Yes, that's right.
Would you like me to cover the services we have, or have you got a particular requirement in mind?
Well, I actually have an automation requirement. Right, that would be great.
Yes, I'll do that. And thanks for the call, and I'll see you then.
Great. See you then.
That's great. Thanks for that, Jay. So, having had a look at the Connect Pro, which is obviously the Teleware product, how can we transform everyday customer interactions and voice calls into powerful business intelligence using things like the tools from Connect Pro and also using them alongside Microsoft Copilot?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, so as we've just seen, the first thing is, as Steve already mentioned, Agent Assist does a great job of automatically capturing and transcribing everything that comes through in real time, whether that be the transcription itself, the summaries, the issue resolutions. It all comes through with a very high level of accuracy. And so it's relatively straightforward then to feed those transcriptions and summaries directly into Copilot, which effectively is your analytical engine. And given that it can process thousands of interactions, it can identify things like your trends, it can look at generating reports, and even based on the outcomes, it could give you strategic documents that you could benefit from as a business.
So from that, what sort of actionable insight could you possibly expect to get from this, like using that?
Yeah, there's quite a lot of different things you get out of it. The main points that come out for me are things like the analysis of the customer demand. Straight away, you can see how it can start to identify recurring issues. Perhaps it would give you really good feedback on products that you're selling, maybe even identify service gaps that help you then promote how you advance your services going forward. And then you've got your agent performance itself. It enables you to kind of look at highlighting any kind of coaching opportunities. You can maybe optimize the way you train your agents going forward based on it. It's certainly a good way of making sure that your agents are adhering to the scripts that you've given them to handle your customer interactions. But it could look at any emotional tones, either positive or negative, that are appearing within that as well. And then going on from that, you've got things like your operational efficiencies. So as I mentioned, it can do a lot with that data. So it could very well easily give you automated reporting out of it, creating documents, even presentations that cover things like the summarizing the weekly trends of what you're seeing. It could actually lead to you looking at some reductions in manual processes as part of it. And then going back to that important part, that it can help you with your compliance modeling as well, making sure you're doing everything that you need to do to answer your customer questions properly.
Okay, then. So what would be the real life impact here then? And also, what's like the potential for the future with this?
Yeah, really good question. There's lots you can do there. I mean, looking at what I've just mentioned there, just imagine if you could see shortly after releasing a product that immediately your customers were getting perhaps confused by something, that'll help you allay that. Or if you'd created a new agent script based on feedback and then being able to kind of measure its effectiveness really quickly, that's another massive improvement. So from using Connect Pro then in conjunction with Copilot, you can get a lot of valuable insights. So instead of having to trawl through call logs, transcriptions, recordings, basically all the information's right in front of you. So it gives you that really important information that you can act on. Your other question, yes. So as part of the potential going forward, as your business scales, you can see that you could then utilize that and build predictive models to be able to take that further forward. So, for example, if your transcription showed you that during conversations when anybody mentioned cost concerns that maybe they were looking to cancel within 30 days, you could then automate a process that says, right, when I see that, perhaps offer them a benefit or a some sort of valuable loyalty discount that will enable them to continue. The other one is if you see things like repeated questions, perhaps if you've just released a feature, then going forward, you could build something into the process that said, well, when that feature is enabled, send a tutorial video automatically to the customer so it'll allay those challenges that it's going to have. So basically, it's not just about listening to everything. It's about learning with the data that you get, which is really important. So hopefully that kind of covers off where we see the massive benefits of combining the kind of the precision of what we're doing with Connect Pro, and then using the intelligence of Copilot to get some really significant benefits and capturing those conversations and really transforming all of that raw data into real actionable intelligence.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Jason. So from moving from there, I guess, into what's actually happening in the market, Nick, what about from the conversations you're having with customers out there at the moment, what are the advantages that people are sort of seeing in terms of cost savings or improvements in productivity? And do you have any proof points that you could share with everyone today about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's great technology, but it still has to come back to what about the increased productivity and is there any cost savings? That's what people drill down to in the end. And we talk about being faster, smarter and more human. I really want to concentrate into an example of our Agent Assist product, which Jason's talked through and Steve mentioned as well, where we can be faster, we can be smarter and we can be more human. I was talking to a couple of customers recently. One is you talk about going to an IVR for 2 hours in a queue. It's just not acceptable in this day and age. And half that time is people writing notes at the end of the calls. So we can alleviate that. We also have come across customers that don't have the staff. They can't employ people. This isn't the jobs available. So they need a solution that's going to help them along the way in that one. Moving into an example, we've got a neat little saving calculator, which I just like to share. And here it is. So when we talk to partners, we give this as a tool and they help with the resellers then. So together, Amy, let's just have a little play with this. So I'll start with handlers. We'll take an average of 50 in there. Yeah. Assume they work 7.5 hours a day and 22 days a month. A salary, we can either go for a telesales area or a customer service area. They're the two areas where it's really important. So what would you say for a salary there?
Maybe about £28,000, £30,000 a year, something around there. I would say
there, just a little bit over the average. Yep. I've got to add on there 47%. That's part of the HMRC for things like sickness, holidays, etc. So that takes a true cost of a salary up to £41,000. Then we talk about how much time do they spend on calls. So in these areas of telesales, for example, or customer services, I'll put in 80% there. And then the average call length, I don't know, 10 minutes, should we say?
Yeah, I'd say that maybe. Yeah, 10 minutes sounds about right.
And wrap up about the same. maybe 7 minutes, something like that. Don't you pick the number?
Let's go for 7 minutes. I think I would hope that agents are spending possibly less time on wrap up than talking to customers. Yeah, let's
We
go
can
for 7.
change them around, yeah. So that would give a gross monthly saving of just short of £54,000. Now, as a running cost of our platform for that month, calculated through at £17,500, but the net cost saving there is £435,000 a year, or £36,000 per month. Massive. It's equivalent to just short of 16 people. Well, that doesn't mean to say you've got to get rid of 16 people. It just takes away some of the examples I mentioned at the start, that the queues can drop, because instead of writing the notes of not being available, they'll be available to take more calls. So that example I gave you there of 2 hours in a queue would fall to about an hour, which is still long, but it's half the time roughly.
Absolutely.
When you're having a conversation like this one here, we can relax and have the conversation, understand what the people are talking about, not having to write notes, which makes the conversation easier for the people. They can more relatable. So that's the more human part. So we've covered the smarter, the technology is taking care of that, the speed of it, the faster, because it's half in the time in there as well. And that's human element, that we can just have a good conversation. And then the notes are accurate. There's no points missed. So you talk about the customer experience score increasing for the businesses as well. So there's a massive impact along there. So that's why we come to our faster, smarter, more human elements of Teleware, and why it's so powerful.
That's great, Nick. I mean, it's certainly, in terms of tangible and intangible benefits, that's huge, isn't it? Just being able to use something like Agent Assist to be able to help with customer service and customer calls. That's really great. Thanks for that. So obviously now we've had a look at the sort of the scale of the voice opportunity in the market. Jason has talked through, and we've looked at Connect Pro, which is Teleware's product that is for end users. And obviously we've just had a conversation quickly about the benefits that it can bring to businesses. But the purpose of obviously today's webinar is partners. That's why we're all here, and that's why people are here to listen. We've got partners here today. So I guess that brings me on to the last point. It's about what's actually in it for them. I'm a partner. I'm on this call now. I've looked at technology. It's great. I understand the market. So what's in it for me? I'm a partner. And maybe Steve, you could have a chat through that and talk more about what we offer partners.
Sure, thanks, Amy. Well, as you said, we've gone through Connect Pro, which as a product from Teleware has been out for a couple of years. It's quite a mature product now, and some of the bits that Jason was talking about in terms of Agent Assist is adding AI elements into that to augment the team, to use AI to help them have better conversations, to do some of the transcriptions, etc. So there's more features being built into that. And then we're launching the Agent Studio, which moves us in from just augmenting people with the AI into full automation. And that's really the newer area where there's lots and lots of interest and the opportunity for partners to ride on the back of that, customers' willingness to have conversations, but they really need to be educated a little bit in terms of what this new wonderful technology is. So therefore, we're looking for partners who really want to ride on the back of that wave and get that opportunity and lead the market. So in order to do that, we've set up what we call the Voice AI Pioneers Club. And the whole point of that is that we'll help partners become leaders in the voice AI space. So we'll provide you with all the capabilities, the tech, and our knowledge. And I'll touch upon that in a minute. But what really the partner program does suit is innovative challenger businesses who want to use voice AI to help them differentiate and grow. We're limiting the availability of this Pioneers Club because we're really wanting to put our time and effort into the partners that come on board and help them understand voice AI and the opportunity and how to make the most of that. the chances are that people on this call are already looking at AI in terms of Microsoft Copilot and other areas, other products and services. So this should just fit nicely into their portfolio. So that's why we're building this Pioneers Club, as it were, to work with those partners and to get going and make the most of the opportunity now, whilst maybe some of the bigger organizations sit on the sideline and wait for things to mature. So really, this Connect Pro gives the opportunity for partners to have innovation from Teleware in terms of products and services, support. They get access to our team, our knowledge and capabilities, and marketing and sales support and help. You don't really get the opportunity to lead often when the new things start coming to market. And I think this is really one of the game changers, particularly we've been in communications, as you know, for 30 years. And I think this is probably the biggest change and biggest opportunity to have happened in our market over that time.
Definitely.
So it's really giving partners the capability to pioneer the future, to capitalize on this AI voice wave before the competition comes in and does that. To be a leader, you get the tools, the training and technology, as I've mentioned, and also the ability for members of the Pioneers Club to feed into our roadmap, so you get to shape the future, because obviously together we will be successful rather than individually. So we're keen to help partners understand, use our technology and grow with us.
That's great. So if I am a partner looking to work with Teleware, obviously being able to sell Connect Pro is a great advantage, and it's innovative technology that will help me elevate myself as a partner out there. What else do I get in addition to that?
Well, one of the things, obviously, we've mentioned AI is a bit of the sexy term that people want to talk about at the moment. And so to enable partners to build and generate in leads, we're looking at how partners can use AI to sell AI. So some of the tools that we've got in terms of that automation piece is quite good. Also building demo platforms and capabilities. So if your partners want to dial in and experience AI voice, then they can do. Building, whether it's videos or demonstration capabilities for specific verticals. If there's a market that you're particularly keen on, then we'll help build vertical propositions and vertical demonstration capabilities, and really trying to make it a product for the partner and let the partner make it their own. So whether that's branding your own voice, whether it's branding your own demonstration, we'll also come with creative ideas. Where there's lots of things. If you've got a demo phone number, for example, there's lots of creative ideas that we've had in how to market those and tested those in the market already to be able to drive leads to those partners. We've also in the process of including outbound calling in the automation process. So you'd actually be able to use AI to dial out to your customers, maybe invite them onto a webinar or set up a meeting or a call with one of your salespeople. But because it's done in voice AI, they get to experience that as well, and see just how natural and good voice AI has become, because I think there's still this lack of knowledge in the marketplace. Maybe people are used to the old robotic IVRs of the past, so it really gives them that opportunity to experience it. And obviously we do the other bits, like help provide the marketing materials and webinar capabilities, and we'll join webinars and work with partners and be involved in your marketing as much as you'd like. But yeah, so it's really a full rounded proposition and support package to help partners get to market and become thought leaders for their customers.
That's great. Thanks, Steve. I mean, obviously, what we will be doing following this webinar is, and anybody that's on the call today, we will be in touch with you over the coming days to try and have a conversation about partnering with Teleware, get some feedback on the technology that you've seen, and if there's an opportunity there for us to work with you. I mean, obviously, there's absolutely no denying, as I said at the beginning of the webinar, AI is absolutely everywhere now, whether it's in the boardroom, the customer service desk. There is just about every business out there is exploring how they can use AI, whether that's to drive efficiencies, improve customer experiences, or unlock new opportunities. That's a lot of the stuff that we've covered today. This is what businesses are doing. They are taking the time out of their everyday activities to look at AI and see how it can be integrated into their business. I think from my perspective, it's, while the buzz is loud and the technology's there, it's actually helping businesses understand that the value in the technology is how you apply it. So in areas like telephony, as we've seen previously, it's how it can form an everyday conversation into some sort of intelligent, insight-driven interaction that can help a business and really generate value from that. So I'm just conscious of time, because I know I said at the beginning it'd be about half an hour, and I think we're just on about half an hour now. So what we will do is follow up any questions and answers any questions that have been asked today. I'll take them offline, and we'll make sure that we get back to you with any Q&As, because I don't want to keep you on for any longer than is necessary. But I'd like to thank you all for joining us today. I hope you found it insightful. We're very excited to work with new partners and to have some engaging conversations with you over the coming weeks. And obviously, I'd like to thank Steve, Nick and Jason for imparting their insight today and sharing their knowledge. It's been really interesting from my perspective as well. And yeah, I hope you all have a really enjoyable the rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.